everyone, my name's Heather. I'm a course instructor and tutor at JD Advising, and today we're going to talk about the battle of the forms. Under the common law rule, an acceptance has to mirror the terms of an offer. This is what we call the mirror image rule. We have a different approach under the UCC, specifically UCC section 2-207, which we refer to as the battle of the forms. Under this rule, when the terms of the acceptance don't mirror the terms of the offer, we might still have a contract. The battle of the forms tells us whether we have a contract and what the terms of that contract are. So to figure out if we have a contract and what the terms are, we have to ask ourselves a series of questions. So to start, make sure you're under the UCC, so make sure this is a contract for the sale of goods. After we determine that the UCC applies, look at whether the acceptance said that the acceptance is expressly conditional on the offeror's assent to the additional or different terms. So for instance, let's say I offer to sell my friend my iPhone for $500, and my friend says, sure, but only if you agree to include your charger and headphones. Well, my friend made her acceptance expressly conditional on my assent to her additional terms, the headphones and the charger. If that's the case, we do not have a contract. That expressly conditional language, when my friend said, but only if, meant that her response to my offer is merely a counteroffer, so we don't have a contract. If, however, my friend's response is not expressly conditional on my assent to her additional or different terms, then we could still have a contract. So for instance, if I offer to sell my friend my iPhone for $500, and my friend says, sure, and I'd also like your headphones and charger. My friend did not make her acceptance expressly conditional on my assent to her additional terms. She did, however, include additional terms. That does not preclude the fact that we have a contract. We definitely have a contract in that instance for the sale of the iPhone. To figure out if my friend's additional terms, the headphones and charger, come in and become part of the contract, we have to ask a few more questions. The first question to look at is whether or not the terms are additional or different. In my hypo, they were additional terms. So let's talk about what to do with additional terms first. So first, if you have additional terms, you want to see if both parties are merchants. Now, typically under the UCC, you don't have to have merchants for the UCC to apply. But for this rule to apply, you do need 2 merchants. So if you have additional terms and you have either 1 or 0 merchants, those additional terms are merely proposals and they will not become part of the contract. So my friend's additional terms, the headphones and the charger, are proposals for me to either accept or reject, because neither my friend nor myself are merchants as far as the sale of iPhones are concerned. Let's assume, however, that both parties are merchants and you have 2 merchants involved in this transaction. We're going to move on to look to see that 3 additional requirements have been met. First of all, you have to make sure that the offer did not expressly limit the offer to the terms of the offer. So for instance, if I said, I will sell my iPhone for $500 and this offer is expressly limited to its terms. If my friend or another merchant at that point came in and said, sure, I accept your offer and I would also like headphones and a charger, because my offer was expressly limited to its terms, those additional terms are not coming in. They do not become part of the contract. Remember, that doesn't mean we don't have a contract. We still have a contract for the sale of the iPhone. Those additional terms just aren't part of it. That's the first requirement. The second requirement is that those additional terms do not materially alter the contract. If the terms materially alter the contract, they do not become part of the contract. I'm going to give you a bar exam tip here. You're probably not in a great position to judge whether or not terms materially alter a contract. So if you've identified this as the issue on a bar exam question, let's say it's a multiple choice question, and you're looking for the right answer choice as to whether or not these terms become part of the contract, a good answer choice is going to use the word if. So for instance, it would say, yes, they become part of the contract if they don't materially alter the contract. So you're identifying the rule for the grader. You're not making a judgment call as to whether or not it is a material alteration, because you're probably not in a great place to make that call. That's our second requirement. Our third requirement is that the offeror did not object to the additional terms within a reasonable time. So if I say I will sell my phone for $500 and my friend, also a merchant, remember we have two merchants here, says sure, and I'd also like headphones and a charger, and I say no, the offer was just for the phone, and I object within a reasonable time, those additional terms are not coming in to become part of the contract. So as I said, there were three requirements there. All three have to be met. Assuming that all three are met, those terms come in and become part of the contract. If any one of those requirements is not met, the additional terms are not part of the contract. Now, just to back up a minute and talk about the different approach that we would take if we have different rather than additional terms. I'm going to change the hypo. So let's say I offer to sell my friend my iPhone, and I say, if you're interested, you can come to my house to pick it up. And my friend says, sure, ship it to me. Well, now we have different terms. My term was pick it up at my house. My friend's term is to ship it. Well, the majority approach here is what we call the knockout doctrine. The knockout doctrine says that both terms get knocked out and the UCC gap fillers fill in the term for that part of the contract. So in this hypo, for instance, my term, ship it, and my friend's term, my term, pick it up, and my friend's term, ship it, both get knocked out, and the UCC gap filler regarding place of delivery is the seller's place of business, so the friend will have to come pick it up at my house since I'm the seller. That's the majority approach, the knockout doctrine. The minority approach is to treat the different terms the same way you would treat the additional terms. See if you have merchants and then make sure those three different additional requirements have been met. If you have any questions about the Battle of the Forms or anything else that you think we could help with, please feel free to email info@jdadvising.com. Thanks for watching.